In front of you is an audio system that many reputable publications consider the best benchmark in its class. Hi-Fi awarded it the Product of the Year and now uses it in their laboratory for testing. This is the second reincarnation of the super successful LS50, which were released back in 2012 and remained unchanged for a whole 12 years. Today we will be exploring and listening to the LS50 Meta, and we'll definitely get to the truth about who needs them and whether they are needed at all, given that there are so many cool alternatives in this segment on the market. So make yourself comfortable, grab some tea or coffee, and let's try to embark on a journey together to the land. Audioland! It's a paradise for sound enthusiasts, where everything plays perfectly and is as affordable as possible. After all, most reviews tell us that you simply can't find anything better for 150,000 rubles in the world. At one time I dreamed of putting the first 50s in my bedroom. They perfectly matched my white interior and promised a much stronger sound experience than any soundbar. But it didn't work out then. I decided it would be too indulgent to listen to something so refined in the mornings. After all, at the start of the day, you need to struggle and overcome yourself, and KEF doesn't really lend itself to such stories. Quite the opposite. Listening to their neutral yet slightly sweet delivery, I would hardly want to leave my comfort zone, and would simply be late for work, my friends. You remember, as Oscar de la Hoya said, it's hard to get up for a run at 5 a.m. when you're sleeping in silk sheets. That's exactly what I thought. Let's go over the design, friends. You can see that it fits perfectly into absolutely any interior. They are so cute and futuristic. Even after 10 years, they look as neat, compact, and I would even say fashionable as ever. But once you turn them on, it's like a snap of the fingers. The sound begins to fill the room, even one that is decent in size by apartment standards, like 22 square meters or even more. From the outside, it's almost impossible to distinguish the first generation, unless you go around the back and see the new terminals for connecting the speakers. Here they are. The size is the same, but the weight is different. A pound in favor of the modern ones? How much is that in kilograms? Please write in the comments. I would be grateful. What's the difference? The curved front panel? What do you think it's made of? Classic wood? No. Could it be metal? Also no. Dark molding compound is a polyester resin combined with fiberglass and carbonate. Calcium? This tough mixture provides an impressive, durable, and well-controlled base for the 12th generation unique speaker array. By the way, do you understand what the point is? Since the tweeter is inside the mid-range, it's both a plus and a minus at the same time. It is clear that this design is more complex to manufacture. It requires a highly thought-out enclosure that will dampen resonances, because if uncontrolled vibration occurs, well, you understand, it will all transfer to the tweeter and significantly degrade the sound quality. That's exactly why the arch rivals from Bauer in their uncompromising lines. In the 8 series, they machined the tweeter enclosure from a solid piece of aluminum, placing it at the very top. And they make every effort to shield it from external vibrations. By the way, they have also started doing it this way in the 7th series. Now, but of course there it's all much simpler, because in the 8s, especially if we take the 803 and 804 and 800, 804 and 800, there is also a mid-range driver, which is placed in a turbine head. KEF takes a completely different approach. You know that even at high volume, these little ones hardly distort the sound image. Well, I know for sure because I've heard it. It's clear that they managed to tame the resonances. This is probably also due to the matte technology. The sound directed backward enters a device the size of a hockey puck, resembling a plastic circular labyrinth. It is multi-layered and consists of 30 tubes, each tuned to absorb its own frequency. Engineers from KEF claim that this design absorbs a wide range of frequencies, approximately from 600 Hz and above. The result is obvious. I compared 2 models and adjusted. It delivers, a cleaner, less distorted sound, especially at high frequencies. If you don't believe it, come to my showroom. We'll compare, because I still have the LS50, the regular test ones, and these Meta ones will be there too. We'll compare them, we'll connect them without any problems. And also, what do I remind you of? Home theaters, stereo systems. If you want to set up sound at your home, in a cafe, in a restaurant, in a cottage, I will always Firstly, A, give you sound advice because I have a lot of experience, and B, offer you a good price. Therefore, write to me, Telegram channel, or WhatsApp, links in the description. A bit more about sound. Here's the Q150. In a typical design, the sound shoots into the chamber behind the dome, where it is mostly absorbed by the damping material. But part of the sound energy is almost always reflected back through the dome, adding those very distortions. But with these, this doesn't happen with the Met. The Labyrinth dampens all of this. It dampens. As you can see, all KEF speakers look a bit similar because this unique technology is their art hallmark. A speaker within a speaker. And the result is an incredibly impressive soundstage due to the merging. These constructions, you can move around the room, lean away, and almost always discern the diversity of the musical picture. I would even say, dissect the tracks. That's why the TLS50 Meta can quite well serve as reference monitors for professional DJs or musicians. They are heroes here, deliver a very realistic sound and music presentation. In general, in any genre, whether it's rock, pop, or even drum and bass, although I don't listen to it and wouldn't recommend it to you, a few words about the crossovers. They are slightly modified compared to the regular LS50. Sensitivity, whoopa, is at the level of 85 dB and the minimum impedance drops down to ohms. This means that it's better not to connect them to a weak amplifier, unveil them. It won't work. But I always tell you that powerful devices can deliver better sound at low volume and provide a richer presentation. That's why my amplifiers deliver 600 watts RMS per channel. And I recommend the same to you. If you connect something too based, very weak, you simply won't hear the potential. LS50. Before I tell you how they sound in full, because I've been with them for about a month, I also want to draw attention to the back panel, how stylishly it is made. Look, this is already such a new approach in speaker construction. Moreover, the bass reflex port, as you can see, is located at the back, so you can't place them directly against the wall, although many people just plug it up. And if, friends, you put your hand in there, no one will grab you or drag you away, no boogeyman, but you will feel that this port is very, very soft. This is it. Here's another feature of the British KEF technology, in which, well, let's say with its help, this sound, the air, coming out of this port, it is additionally dampened and creates fewer resonances. Everyone has their own feature. The high-class terminals remind me a lot of the Premiere of the A3C, friends. By the way, I did a review on it. Be sure to check it out. Well, what else can I say? Again, the Finnish very prone to fingerprints, but I forgive them because I don't allow anyone to touch my audio equipment at home, especially since I immediately slap hands for that. No one is allowed to go near it. And here there are essentially no grills. You can't protect these beautiful UniQ drivers, clever drivers, amazing in terms of soundstage. Therefore, friends, make it a rule that if someone comes closer than a meter to your speakers, you should immediately tell them to step away. Well, friends, it would seem, right? Two identical pairs, and the LS50 Q150, one costs 150,000, the other 30,000, roughly speaking. Is there any point in overpaying? I am often asked, but are they really worth the extra money? I mean, the more advanced models, friends, well, how can I put it? If you listen to the Q150 and like the sound, but if you didn't like it, then there are two options. Either you have a poor amplifier source or there's something wrong with your hearing because they just sound good and you heard it somewhere or even nearby. LS50 Meta, then undoubtedly you won't be able to tolerate this difference because the sound is radically different. Yes, the soundscape is roughly the same. And it's the same as when you sit in a Mercedes A-Class and in a Mercedes not a C-Class, an E-Class. Everything seems roughly similar, but they are completely different cars, different platforms, different delivery, different driving experience. Similarly here, of course, these have more punch, wider soundstage. When you play Coltrane, all these nuances are audible. You can directly pick them out. Yes, you can hear all of this roughly. In the Q150 as well, but in the LS50 Meta, there is much more information. You get a much wider range, especially if you give them serious power. Well, at least something like a ton of wine 99, or, well, I'm not even talking about Bristol. If you connect the 82 Pro Plus, I tested it, well, it's just super, simply also Aqua. It drove them excellently. That is, they need good power. Regarding, again, the composition, or the control one, Rammstein Reise Reise, my album, one of my favorites. It's from 2000, I think, 2006. At that time, I was just finishing university, or rather, the academy. Super. From the Woodforth to Stein to the ninth song. Just listen, and if you feel the wave, this sound, what it is, it's when you let this sound pass right through you, when it goes through you. But it's not just this wave of professional acoustics that just pounds and pounds. No, it's an intelligent wave that allows you to, again, discern all these instruments in the air. When you listen to Till's sound, his voice, his timbres, how they jump, can you understand and appreciate all this here, friends? But on the condition that you have good nutrition. If you eat well, your equipment is well fed. However, if you eat poorly, then of course there will be certain problems with hearing and perception, so everything should be in harmony, no matter how silly it sounds, but the result only comes from the combination of hundreds, even thousands of little details. You connect a serious amplifier, or to them, a serious source, and position them correctly so that the acoustics are slightly directed towards you. Although, in general, for these, KEF is not necessary. Such positioning is more favored by horns, which really need to be perfectly tuned to the listening area. Here, it's not like that. You can, as I mentioned, walk around the room and generally hear the scene. What else I want to say? Madonna's album, Hard Candy, played very well. All the tracks flowed together as one. Moreover, a subwoofer is practically not needed with them. But if you have a large room, if you are sitting far away, then of course, not just any Utu, but the KEF KC62. The C62, as far as I remember, it fits perfectly with it because it's very fast. These speakers themselves are very fast. You can even plug the bass reflex port at the back because the bass might seem excessive to you. Yes, yes. Such cases I have also observed in my, let's say, listening experience. When I set up these speakers for different people, I set them up so for about 20 different people, and everyone said, yes, they look great, sound awesome, and importantly, they are essentially like professional acoustics. That is, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money on PMC. You don't have to spend big money on the same Genelec, which I generally don't like because they are too analytical. I get tired of that sound very quickly. KEF has a balance. They have this golden mean between the most kind of pleasant, slightly sweet presentation and at the same time neutral, and you can listen to the result for a long time. These acoustic systems, as I said, and they won't, let's say, hit you over the head. Because with Genelec, when I listen for more than 30 minutes, it's really hard. Although, yes, they are assertive, they have everything is good, but there's this nuance. Forgive me, lovers of completely super dry sound. I say this as someone who owns Bryston. But again, I changed my 4B out SST to 4BQ because the SST2 was too analytical. I really got tired of them, especially when they were combined with the BP26. So friends, let's leave the lyrics aside. Who are these speakers for? For serious people. For people who want to get a lot for relatively little money. For people who love style. For people who love the brand, because KEF is already a brand, a serious, expensive English brand. Place them on a shelf, on a stand, anywhere you like. They will play well everywhere. And connect them to a serious amplifier. By the way, you can connect them to a primer. In Class D, even the most basic one drives them very well, 15. And as a result, you get a very serious stereo system. I also recommend them for those who want to place them in the bedroom or under the TV, because, by the way, you can also easily lay them down. That's a feature. And definitely any soundbar, they will outshine them because the scene will be completely different, completely a different punch. Everything will be different. And they will almost paint a picture. If you set them up correctly, if you have a room similar to mine, you will practically hear sound even from behind, even though there are only the speakers. That's how it is.